What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and just last week a lot of characters received some major updates. And in honor of these awesome updates, I decided to go ahead and make a two-part video which will showcase these heroes in PvP. So as we get right into the battles, I'm going to go ahead and give my opinions on these characters, and also talk a little bit about their updates. First up will be Gambit. Gambit's passive wildcard has its proc chance improved, so that means it will proc a lot more often than it used to. And wildcard reads chance to assist when an ally attacks or is attacked, and grants 1 kinetic charge when it does proc. Next, Gambit's level 1 bow roulette now grants 2 to 4 applications of kinetic charge. Previously it only granted 1 to 3. His level 2 ability, Ace of Spades, now additionally causes pain, and that's in addition to Exposed, which reduces defense by 25%. And lastly, his level 9 now causes Fumble and Wide Open. So basically what Fumble says is single target attacks provoke a counterattack, and then also Wide Open says taking additional damage from melee attacks. That debuff Fumbling is actually pretty awesome. I wasn't quite sure what it meant until I used them in battle, but basically it does exactly what it says. Whenever an enemy that has Fumbling does a single target attack, Gambit has a chance to counterattack. And the best part about this debuff is his level 9 hits all opponents, so it's going to put Wide Open and Fumbling on every single enemy. Not to mention the fact that it removes buffs as well. But I was pretty anxious to see that counterattack, so I started out with his level 9. And normally you may want to hold on to it, that way you could remove buffs with it. And right after the very first attack in the battle, Gambit does get wildcard and uses Ace in the Hole. So hopefully that proc chance is very much improved. But then unfortunately Ares does use Crush Your Enemies, and so we don't get to counterattack, since it wasn't a single target attack. Also, they remove all our buffs. Our agent was stunned, so he skipped his turn. Then Electra used Rain of Blood. So at this point our entire team has internal bleeding, and there's no way to remove it. But the next improved character is up, and that's Cable. Cable can now switch to his overdrive mode or his control mode at any time, and he doesn't take damage when he switches. He still has his amazing ability Temporal Shift, but it shares a cooldown with Force of Will. His level 1 plasma rifle now has Paragon Exploiter, so it can do some major damage. You can now combine him with characters like Captain Britain or even another blaster, Havoc, although that team up is a little bit more risky. His body slide ability is pretty much the same, but it's still pretty awesome and I do love using it, especially because distraction and mirror images. His level 6 Ascani Arts now applies Flanked and Targeted, so that's pretty amazing that it applies Flanked. And I'll be completely honest, Cable is one of my favorite characters right now. I love the Flank, the Paragon Exploiter, and also the fact that he can grant an ally an extra turn. Right here you can see that Techno-Organic Rampage has pressure points, so it can potentially apply all the debuffs needed for Paragon Exploiter. His Telekinetic Slam is now considered kinetic damage, and it's also catastrophic, so it can be protected against. And lastly, his Psionic Spikes ability now applies Off Balance, Cornered, and Winded. So Cable has a ton of options, and he really is amazing on just about any team in my opinion. At this point we already used Temporal Shift to give Gambit an extra turn. Then we're going to hit their agent and apply Flanked as well as Wide Open. So that's going to really open him up for Gambit to hit him extremely hard and get a follow-up attack if needed. But Gambit's only going to need 1 bow roulette to take out their agent. Then he's going to get to take his second turn, and this time he has some kinetic charges. So we'll go ahead and use Raging Cajun on one of the enemies. Since it looks like he can finish Ares, and Ares has the next turn, we'll go ahead and target him. And there you see he does plenty of damage to finish him off. Electra still gets to target Gambit with a heavy size, and I guess that was due to Ares' passive, even though that's kind of weird, since Ares was knocked out at that point. But on our agent's turn, we're going to use the scroll, and then we're going to go ahead and target Electra with the Guardian right after we use the Protector. So we'll go ahead and use the mace on her, and hopefully we can do some major damage. But instead she procs Master Assassin, and I've been seeing that proc quite a bit lately. It's been actually really hard to hit her with melee attacks. But luckily we do have Cable, so he should be able to finish her, even if Gambit and my agent can't hit her. But I fought her with a mostly melee team before, and they had a really hard time hitting her. She just kept proccing Master Assassin over and over. So on Cable's turn we should just use his level 1 and blast her with the plasma rifle. But it didn't look like it was going to do that much damage. In fact, it looked like it would take her down about 50%. So I was seeing if there was anything better that I could do. And I really do love the fact that you can switch between his two skill sets now. And of course you don't have to worry about taking damage when in overdrive form. Right here I was debating using Techno-Organic Rampage, basically to set up my Paragon Exploiter. But instead I just switched back to Techno-Organic Control and decide to use Body Slide. So that will give us mirror images on Cable, and we have a 75% chance to put Distraction on Elektra. Unfortunately, we didn't get Distraction on her. With Gambit, we should have used his level 9, but instead we play it safe and try to get some kinetic charges with Bow Roulette. Next we'll try another melee attack with the Warbringer Axe, and hopefully finish Elektra off. But there you see Master Assassin procs once again. So I really wasn't kidding when I said it was proccing a lot. I've seen it so many times lately. It makes her really tough against melee opponents. It really does look like it's going to come down to Cable to finish this fight. So now she's going to assassinate Gambit, and that will take him out, of course. But we're going to get 2 attacks if we need it with Cable. But I'm pretty sure we only need 1 plasma rifle to finish this battle. No Master Assassin proc on that. So now we're on to our next battle. And in this one we're going to show Spider-Woman and Rogue. It looks like we're going to have the agent starting off this battle. So let's hope that we don't get our team stunned with the hotshot. And since I have so much to say about Rogue, I should probably start right now. Rogue is absolutely amazing with her updates. Her passive Southern Hospitality alone is really game changing. And on the very first attack you see it proc, and so she does an absorb power on their agent. Now the crazy thing about this passive is the fact that absorb power is so amazing. It's a bio attack, but it also absorbs class and has a chance to stun the target, and that stun kicks in quite often. So for a passive ability that has a chance to counter any enemy attack, it also has a chance to stun them. So that means it has a huge effect on PvP battles and can really swing them in your favor. So because of that passive and absorb power in general, along with her level 9, which we'll take a look at in just one moment, she is my favorite updated character so far. And trust me, that's saying a lot, because all the character updates made these characters very useful and extremely fun to play with in my opinion. I really wouldn't say there's a bad one in the bunch, and I'm hoping other characters like Luke Cage and She-Hulk get the same treatment. Now finally we're going to move on to Rogue's turn, so let's take a look at her abilities a little bit closer. First off, they say she has improved AI. And she also, like I said, has that new passive ability, which is called Southern Hospitality. So she has a chance to counter enemy attacks with Absorb Power. So when she uses Absorb Power, she gains the positive aspects of the target's class, and has a chance to stun them like I mentioned. Right now she has the Infiltrator status, because she used it on their Infiltrator agent. Her level 9 is also amazing right now. They made it a quick action. It has increased speed, so taking 2 actions after a full round, and provides in the fray, so she deals increased damage, restores more from Drain Essence, and has an increased chance to stun with Absorb Power. So you definitely want to use Southern Comfort as soon as you have her turn, as long as it's available to use. I do want to mention that it's not stealthy. All of her attacks say stealthy because she has the Infiltrator class right now. But since we just use Absorb Power on Ares, she's going to gain Bruiser Power. And the reason we used that is because we thought we could stun him, and we were right. Basically denying him the opportunity to use Crush Your Enemies. Now on to Spider-Woman, she has 2 new passives. First she has Spider Serum, immune to radiation exposure, poison, and all bio attacks. And secondly, Vengeance, a 50% chance to counter all melee attacks with Brawl. and 50% chance to counter all range attacks with Venom Blast. Next, her level 1 has deadly crits. Then her level 2 Venom Blast has biofeedback, which deals bio damage every turn, gives the enemy a small chance to lose their turn, and also counts as stun and poison for actions that affect those targets. And that's not all, she has pretty much every single ability changed, at least in some way. Her next ability, Fear Pheromones, is catastrophic, and now applies Intimidated. It also applies Cower, which says attacks have a 20% chance to fail, and counts as a fear effect. I just want to say that Cower ability is pretty amazing. When it kicks in, the enemy just goes ahead and doesn't even attack, yet they still get counterattacked oftentimes. At least from what I've seen, and I don't know if that's supposed to be that way, but it's pretty awesome. On top of that, I've also seen it work on mini-bosses, and it may potentially work on bosses as well. And those are normally immune to stun and exhaust effects. But that's not all, she also has a new move, Seduction Pheromones, which is a single target attack. It's stealthy, it causes mind control and disoriented. We decided to start by using Fear Pheromones, so we put Intimidated and Cower on all the enemies. This is pretty amazing because it lowers their attack and accuracy, as well as evasion. So Spider-Woman's a really good team-up character now. And that level 9 is really nasty as well. Just go ahead and give it a try in PvP, and you'll see the enemies hitting each other and protecting you. It's just a really fun and really powerful ability to use, because those debuffs are pretty much unmatched. As long as they're proccing, and they do seem to proc a decent amount of time. I'm also thinking of using Spider-Woman along with someone like Black Bolt, and his ambient particles, along with her full team Intimidate, really should lower the damage of your opponents. And then consider using that with something like the Atalan set, so your Protect agent would hardly take any damage at all. And I think it could work against any bosses, and maybe tweaked just right it could be a PvP strategy as well. Regardless, I'm really enjoying the new updates, and I will have part 2 tomorrow, which will show some more Cable, as well as Deadpool. Trust me, you'll definitely want to see that one, so make sure to subscribe, go ahead and leave a like and a comment, and as always, thank you for watching.